I think today is a really exciting opportunity for all kinds of different people from all sorts of different parties and none to get together to talk about not just the need for electoral reform, which is pretty clearly established and understood, but actually how we get there. And I think we've already thus far heard some interesting discussions in terms of obviously focusing on local government is one area, the idea of having a single transferable vote as they've already got in Scotland, as some of the parties are promising if they win in the Wales Assembly elections. That's a real problem. One party states in local government is a big issue, so that's one area that people have been focusing on. But I think perhaps possibly the most exciting area is the focus, particularly thinking about Westminster, of the idea of a People's Constitutional Convention, the idea that we really need to get this electoral reform with the people on side, with the people really deciding what kind of system we get. And I talk a lot about politics should be something you do, not that's done to you. And the best kind of politics you imagine is people collectively deciding what the system should be and then installing it. So that I think is really important. And I think one other point that was raised that's really important is that we're coming up in 1918 to the centenary of women getting the vote in 2018. That's the centenary, 100 years later. That was the last significant reform in Westminster. We really shouldn't get past that point without fixing things up for the modern era. Well, I think what's really has focused the public's mind, people's mind in general, is the fact that we have a Tory party that's making massive radical changes to our society, really is an extremist party that only has the support of 24% of eligible voters. And if you look at the election, the Labour Party vote increased more than the Tory party vote did in the election, and yet Labour lost the election and the Tories won the election. And even if you count the people who voted, it was only 39% of the people who voted who supported the Tories. And that doesn't represent the people. We're not heading in the right direction. And it's really important. I think also one of the other focuses here that I hadn't thought about much before, that was raised by one of the speakers, was the fact, the way in which, and we know this politically, the safe seats, most of the parties don't worry about very much. They focus on the swing seats. And that focuses a lot of political attention, but of course that also tends to distort and focus government projects, financial investment from the centre, from Westminster, into certain seats. It remarkably often seems to go into those swing seats. And that really is quite damaging for our society, for the balance of our economy. What I think people should be doing is, at a very basic level, talking about it. Talk to your friends, family, work colleagues, fellow members of your unions, fellow students, whoever it is that you're running into. When politics come up, raise the issue of, well, we haven't really got a very good system, have we? And I think the way we raise this is important. Traditionally, perhaps electoral reformers have got very bogged down into details of should it be AMS or AV Plus or STV or whatever. Let's say, really make the argument that we need a proportional electoral system, a fair system in which if you vote for a party or a person, you've got a decent chance of getting them. That's really the foundation that we need to see. And so getting that across to people and saying also, it's not difficult for voters. Voters in London, in Wales and in Scotland are already doing this with additional member systems. Most of the rest of continental Europe, people are voting in proportional systems. I think the rest of England can cope with it too. And we have a simple argument to make, that we have a fair system, a system where you can vote for what you believe in and get it. And that really is a lot simpler than now, where people are left going, well, I'm in this constituency, how's everyone else going to vote, and what does that mean, and what's it likely to happen, and how do I calculate my vote accordingly?